Apple have just released their new range of iPhones, the iPhone 14, 14 Pro and 14 Max. There have been some big feature updates in this year's release. So in this video, I'm going to provide you with a summary of the main differences, not only between all of the iPhone 14 variants, but also the remaining iPhones currently available for sale online and in the Apple Store. So if you're deliberating on which model you should choose, then continue watching this video as I go through the entire range of Apple iPhones, outlining the main features and benefits of each. There are currently 5 main models of iPhones to choose from. You see, every time Apple releases a new flagship phone, they tend to keep 1 or 2 legacy phones in the lineup and offer them at a reduced price. As such, in addition to the 2022 release of the iPhone 14, we have the iPhone 12, the 13, and in between that, the iPhone SE. At the entry level are the iPhone 12 and the iPhone SE. These can be picked up for under $599 US and offer a great way to get into iOS and Apple's ecosystem, as the cost is comparatively low. The iPhone 12 is an early generation of iPhone that came out in 2020, and Apple have maintained this as their entry-level offering. Even though it's a couple of years old, it is still really well spec'd. It has a large 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR display, dual camera system with standard and ultra-wide lens, 2x optical zoom range, and a battery life that supports up to 17 hours of video playback. Powered by the A14 Bionic chip, it has Face ID, super fast 5G cellular ceramic shield front, aerospace grade aluminium, and it's also water resistant to a depth of 6 meters for up to 30 minutes. It's also compatible with MagSafe cases, wallets, wireless chargers, and more. You can get it in a range of colors from purple to blue, green, red, white, and black. And you can spec it up from 64 gig to 128 all the way up to 256 at the time of purchase. So if you want to get access to some of Apple's amazing photography and video capabilities and don't want to break the bank, then the entry-level iPhone 12 is not a bad option. Next in the lineup is the SE, and this is kind of a unique proposition as it moves away from the large 6.1-inch display and kind of takes you back to the earlier generation of iPhones with a large bezel top and bottom and the physical home button. This one starts at $429. It has Touch ID instead of Face ID, glass front and back with aerospace grade aluminium, and it's water resistant up to 1 meter for up to 30 minutes. It's only got a single 12 megapixel camera. It includes portrait mode with advanced bokeh and depth control, and includes portrait lighting with 6 effects. It can also record 4K video at up to 60 frames per second and includes optical image stabilization for video, slow-mo up to 240 frames per second, so still a decent range of specs for photography and video, but nowhere near as capable as the iPhone 13 and 14, which we'll take a look at next. If you're considering the iPhone 13, there are 2 versions to choose from. There's the mini version of this phone with a 5.4-inch display starting at $599, and the larger 6.1-inch variation, which starts at $699. At this point of time, the iPhone 13 is offering the best value for money, as the specs are pretty impressive, offering you a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR display at the top end, dual camera system with a 12 megapixel main camera, with standard lens and wide-angle lens as well. It has a true depth front camera, 2x optical zoom, up to 19 hours of video playback, powered by the A15 Bionic chip with a 16-core neural engine. It has Face ID, 5G cellular, ceramic shield front, aerospace aluminium, and is water resistant to a depth of 6 meters for up to 30 minutes. Compatible with MagSafe cases, wallets, and wireless chargers. The optical stabilization is improved from the iPhone 12, offering sensor shift technology, and is the first model to introduce the cinematic mode for recording videos with shallow depth of field at 1080p 30. It can also record standard video at 4K 30 and 60 frames per second. For photo still, it includes an impressive night mode that quite literally can see in the dark, and includes Smart HDR4 for even better photos in contrasty lighting environments. Next are the iPhone 14s. This year is even more confusing as there's an iPhone 14, 14 Plus, 14 Pro, and 14 Pro Max. So let's start with the 14 and the 14 Plus, essentially the same phone, but you can choose between the 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR display and the all-new larger 6.7-inch variant. And this is the first time we've seen a 6.7-inch display on an iPhone, and I have to say it looks really impressive. If you use your phone for media creation or you struggle with eyesight, these extra few inches of screen real estate are going to be sure to impress. In terms of specs, they are quite comparable to the iPhone 13. The main difference is that you get autofocus on the true depth front camera, and it has a new photonics engine delivering improved detail and color. The dual camera system on the base iPhone 14 is almost the same as the previous model, sporting a 12 megapixel camera with dual lenses offering the mid-range lens and ultra-wide capability. There's a slight difference on the main camera as it has a f1.5 aperture compared to the f1.6 aperture on the iPhone 13, which will mean that it can get a little more light in, which helps it perform better in low light situations. Next is the iPhone 14 Pro, starting at $999 US with 128 gig of storage. The most notable change is the new dynamic island, and this replaces the notch at the top of the screen with a kind of horizontal pill shape. Not only is it more aesthetically pleasing, but combined with the update in iOS, it's been designed to expand to a larger information bubble on certain apps, which kind of makes it feel like it's there for a reason rather than a result of poor or lazy design. The screen uses Apple's ProMotion technology with adaptive refresh rates of up to 120 Hz. So this is good for iPhone gaming, and you'll probably even notice a difference when scrolling on websites or using your phone with social media apps. Other features include 23 hours of video playback compared to 20 hours on the standard iPhone 14. The Pro model also includes the new A16 Bionic chip for even more power and includes 3 lenses instead of 2. For the first time, we get a 48 megapixel sensor on the main camera. However, the ultra-wide and telephoto are still only capable of 12 megapixel images. It also incorporates second generation sensor shift optical image stabilization for even better video stabilization than the previous models, 6 times optical zoom, nighttime portrait mode, macro photography with support for Apple ProRAW, which is ideal for those intending to use their iPhone for pro photography. It also records ProRes video at up to 4K 30 frames per second, which is going to take your videos to a whole new level. There's a macro video recording mode as well, including slow-mo and time-lapse. And if that doesn't do it for you, then there's the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which starts at $1,099 US. This one also has the 6.7-inch screen as an option, increased battery life, offering up to 29 hours of video playback. Apart from that, pretty much has the same specs that we just outlined on the previous 14 Pro. Both can be upgraded to 1 terabyte of storage for pro use or the serious travel photographer. But warning, the upgrade to the 1 terabyte capacity is going to cost around $1,599 US. So be prepared to part with a fair amount of money to get into that spec. So which one would I buy? Well, of course, if money was no object, I'm going all the way up to the 14 Pro Max, and I'm taking it up to the full 1 terabyte capacity. I'll definitely take advantage of the ProRes video for the videos that I shoot on this channel and for my professional work as well. In addition to that, I could see myself using it as a really decent travel camera for photography. If I had no intention to use it in a professional capacity, then I would skip the 14 and just go with the iPhone 13, as I think out of all of the models, it represents the best value for money, coming in at only $699. So that pretty much wraps up my summary of the current iPhone range. Let me know which one you're planning on getting in the comments box below. And if you already have the new iPhone 14, especially the Pro Max, feel free to brag about it and tell us how much you love it and how it's changed your creative life in the comments box below. See you on the next one. Bye for now.